Saturday, a beautiful Saturday, May 10, 2025. National Train Day. Listen to that. We're at Princeton Junction. Gonna spend the day here. You're looking at the Princeton Dinky with those beautiful Arrow MUs. Talk more about them later. Good morning, rail fans. Today is a beautiful May 10th, 2025, National Train Day. I'm here in a great place to watch trains, especially fast ones, Princeton Junction, New Jersey. See, it's a beautiful day, a little chilly, a little breezy, but that's fine. It's better than the weather we've had for the majority of the week. And I'm here in Princeton Junction today to get the high-speed trains on Amtrak, get some horn shows. They go 125 miles an hour through here on the regional trains and 150 on the Acela Express trains. Maybe if I'm lucky, they're running a Velia test train today. But what I'm really hoping to see are the new 2 crayon locomotives. It's a marketing campaign for Crayola Crayons, and Amtrak shrink-wrapped a couple of ACS 64s to advertise Crayola. The 620 has a gaudy yellow paint you can see from miles, and the 621 has a blue color. I happen to know that the 621 went down this morning on the Carolinian, and he's in DC, or he'll be in DC. Hopefully he'll come back later today, and the 620 went down yesterday on 137 at DC. Hopefully maybe he'll come back up today at some point. Keep my fingers crossed on that. And obviously I have to go after those, that Princeton Dinky. It's got 2 Arrow MUs today with 2 solid Westinghouse AA2 horns on them. Love the sound of those things. And I love the Arrow MUs. You might wonder why I like the Arrow MUs built by GE, since I don't like the GE Silverliner 4s on SEPTA too much. Well, the Arrow MUs just look a hell of a lot better. They have a smoother top to balance the relatively small windows, and they have that center door which gives it a good balance on the side. And say nothing of those Westinghouse AA2 horns. Now the SEPTA Silverliner 4s have that long dynamic brake blister on the top, and that combined with the relatively small windows on the car looks like they put it through a compactor, or they dropped 1,000 anvils on top of the cars from 1,000 feet up. To say nothing of those S2M horns compared to the AA2 horns. When I hear those S2M horns on the Silverliner 4s, just makes me want to weep. Now, the Silverliner 5s, on the other hand, they have that big dynamic brake blister, but they have larger windows. It has a much more harmonious look. Plus, they have the doors on the side, which gives the sides of the car balance. The Silverliner 4s don't have that center door, which makes it look terribly, terribly naked. It's like building an Airbus 380 and gloating about how great it looks and then forgetting to put the engines on it. So, I don't know. But we'll spend the day here, and hopefully we get some good stuff, good horn shows and the like. I also want to wish you mothers a happy Mother's Day tomorrow, and a happy birthday to yours truly tomorrow. So I got to get something for my wife, and she's got to get something for me. You remember one time that legendary Mets broadcaster, Ralph Kiner, used to do the Met game broadcast? I remember one Mother's Day at Shea Stadium, there was a big crowd there, and Ralph Kiner says, "Here we are at Shea Stadium for this beautiful Mother's Day, and I want to wish all you mothers out there a very happy birthday." All right, let's see. This is my message for today. For today and every day. All right, let's watch some trains. Well, here comes the Acela 2250, Washington, Boston, at 10:54. Well, 10:56, approaching is 22:49 from Boston to Washington, Acela Express. fantastic thing about Princeton Junction is the track is straight as can be in both directions for quite a ways. Oh, gives the trains a chance to really achieve their maximum speeds. This is a primary test section for the new Avelias. In fact, when the Metroliners came out in the late 60s, they had one that did 160 through here, and the Avelias do that also. This is probably about the fastest long stretch on the entire Northeast Corridor from C.P. Clark, just south of here, up to Midway. In fact, if you go beyond that to Ham to the south and County to the north, or west-east respectively, that's like hypertrack. It's like better than 125 miles an hour for the Acellas. Well, approaching at 11:03 is train 152, Washington-Boston. On the weekends, the Amtrak trains have sort of a differing numbering system. Attaboy. If you notice the Phase 7 Amtrak livery on the Amfleet cars, you'll see more and more of those things. Sweet music. That's one of the best Arrow MU horns I've heard. Some of them sound pretty weak. Well, at 11:14, we have a couple of New York bound trains. Here comes Amtrak 662, Harrisburg to New York. Well, here's Transit Train 7828, a Trenton, New York local. He's got multi-levels, as most of these trains do. It's a blessing if you can look out the window on one of those. Happy National Train Day, by the way.
Oh, that's it is today?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't know either until I came down here. All right, supposedly they're replacing the window panes on these cars, but none of these cars have been touched yet. I mean, some of them you can partially see out of, but talk about ugly railroad equipment, the AOP 45 DP. 11:28. This is 7833 from New York to Trenton coming in. More multi-levels. Now, Mark and EXO have the same type of multi-levels, but unlike these, you can easily see out the window. No replaced window panes on that equipment. Okay, 11:33. You may not be able to see this guy pass, but this is 43, the Pennsylvania from New York to Pittsburgh. When I saw his equipment at Sunnyside Yard earlier, had two engines on it, 618 leading, with a series of Amfleet 2 cars and a baggage car on the rear. $78.30 from Trenton to New York is in the station too. On the right, he's passing by the old abandoned Nassau Tower. Well, we're over by the railroad crossing off the parking lot, just around the curve from the station on the Princeton branch. Got a couple of run-bys here and listen to those beautiful Westinghouse horns. Here at the parking lot at Princeton Junction, they're very greedy here. They get you 7 days a week. No mercy on the weekends. I guess they want to scrape every nickel they can. I mean, look at the lot. It's fairly empty. Well, here's the crossing I'm talking about. Princeton Shuttle, or the Dinky as they call it, makes a lot of deadhead moves. I mean, they do a lot of round trips carrying passengers each day, but sometimes there's an imbalance of trains going one way versus the other. So that stinks of a deadhead there. So the next train coming by before like 5 after 12 will be a Princeton Junction bound train. Then he'll deadhead right back and make another trip out of there at 12:20. He'll be coming back shortly. Remember how I was saying earlier about how the Silverliner 4s look like they had something heavy dropping down on top of them? Well, they kind of remind me of, remember the 2005 Chrysler 300? One of the ugliest cars ever built. Definitely looks like something heavy fell on top of that. The passenger compartment and dome was very disproportionate to the body. It was... My parents had a 68 Chrysler 300 that looked like a streamliner compared to that thing. Sleek. All right, here he comes, deadheading back to Princeton. Kind of feathering it there, but he'll blow it harder here. That sounded nice. Yeah, Princeton Junction does a huge business here. The majority of the people here are generally faculty and students from nearby Princeton University. I would have to say this is probably one of the most intellectual passenger train clientele you could ever find anywhere in the country. I mean, there are other stations that are near Ivy League schools, but they're in big cities, so that alone generates considerable traffic. But here, there's really not much around here other than the university. Well, approaching at 12:20, he's about a half an hour late. Is train 164 from Richmond Main Street station in Richmond, Virginia to Boston. He's going to be riding track 1 all the way up to at least Metro Park because he's got a local ahead of him, and he makes New Brunswick and Metro Park. It's a bit of a clunker. Fleet music, those brakes. Ah, he had a Phase 7 painted cafe car on him. Comes the Dinky, gonna ride him to Princeton. All right, let's take a ride on the Dinky to Princeton. This car is packed. We're now taking a ride on the 2.7 mile Princeton Dinky, otherwise known as the PJ&B for Princeton Junction and back. This service started way back in 1865, and this line was electrified in 1936. It's been operating all this time, but there was a disruption in service around 2018 when they installed PTC on the system. But this system is very popular with Princeton University students and faculty. It's 2.7 miles long, as I had mentioned, and the maximum speed on this line is about 55 miles an hour, I believe. This is a former Pennsylvania Railroad branch, later Penn Central, later Conrail, and now property of New Jersey Transit. Branch is almost like a museum or an amusement park ride, the little train ride you take at the amusement parks. This line was the bastion of the Pennsy MP54 MUs, and now the 1970s built Arrow MUs, built by General Electric. This ride is quite smooth and the line is well maintained. The highway below is US Route 1, which runs from Maine to Florida. This is where the former Penn's Neck station used to be, the only intermediate stop on the Dinky branch. It was discontinued in 1971. And we're crossing over the Delaware and Raritan Canal, followed by Stony Brook. And that was the Faculty Road grade crossing, the only grade crossing other than the ones at Princeton Junction, as we approached the station at Princeton. The station we are arriving at was built in 2014 and even houses a Wawa market. It replaced a station that was built in 1918. They closed that station and reseated the track back to the present station to build an arts center for the university. The Dinkies' future is questionable. There's been talk about turning this into a bus route or a light rail routing. But I know the students and faculty of the university very much want to keep this service. Well, we're now at the Faculty Road grade crossing in Princeton. Gonna catch a couple of run-bys here. Got the 1259 out of Princeton. He'll be going to the Junction and then he'll be deadheading back, and next trip will be a 120, which I will catch. RMUs toil on this line. This is one of the haunts for the New Jersey Transit ROMUs. Other ones are the Gladstone branch. They're heavy with ROMUs. That's a great branch to Railfan with the scenery and all the railroad crossings. Listen to those beautiful horns. And they run a few up to Montclair State University and a couple of rush hour trains to Dover during the week. So it's quite a, there are quite a few haunts to see these while they're still around. So enjoy them while you can. And another thing, people are always criticizing me, say, why do you always knock the Silverliner 4s, blah, 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 blah. I'm sick of your channel, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to watch my channel if you don't want to. Nobody's forcing you. But that's part of the fun of rail fanning, being objective. I mean, people tell me they hate K5LLA horns. They hate the Silverliner 5s. I don't get all bent out of shape over it. I mean, after 2-week inpatient stay in the hospital, I feel fine after those comments. So, to each his own, to each her own. But they have a right to their opinion, and I have a right to mine. So, all right, 1 p.m. The Junction-bound Dinkies pulling out of Princeton right now. Yeah, that equipment will be back shortly. All right, it's 1:09. Shortly our Dinky deadhead will be coming back. Let me tell you a little bit about the Westinghouse AA2 horns. They were popular on interurban railroads like the Chicago, North Shore, and Milwaukee. I think the Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin had them too. But they're very common on rapid transit systems today. Namely the Broad Street subway, the CRRC cars that are in Boston, the PATH trains, Staten Island Rapid Transit's R44 cars. They're universally popular, but they're more of a transit-oriented horn these days than on a Class 1 railroad or a passenger railroad. This is the only one I know of that has them. Ah, nice. Supposedly there was a SEPTA Silverliner 4 that was fitted with an AA2 horn. I would love to hear it instead of that sorrowful sound I've been hearing for years. And we begin our ride back to Princeton. I'll record the whole ride. You can just watch and listen, no narration. Back at the junction at 128, here comes a Trenton-bound New Jersey Transit train. This our military members and veterans. Thank you very much. All right, at 1:50 approaching is Amtrak 665 from New York to Harrisburg. Well, here comes train 88, Norfolk, Virginia to Boston at 1:57. Yes, 202. Here comes the Omen, train 666, Harrisburg to New York. They're not superstitious, Amtrak. At least the Long Island renumbered theirs 666 to 698. Well, 207, this is 147 from Springfield, Mass to Roanoke. Approaching 233 is New Jersey Transit train 7845 with an Alp 45 DP with LED lights. Yeah, motive power on these transit trains is pretty boring. Well, this isn't boring. All right, approaching now at 2:50 is train 19, the Crescent from New York to New Orleans. To pay homage to the late Jay North, I wonder if good old Mr. Wilson is running this train. I saw him run it last week in Newark. All right, approaching at 2:53, this should be 140 from Washington to Springfield. And he should have the 620 on him, the yellow crayon. And he does. Wow. Talk about high visibility paint schemes. Beautiful. They're playing my song. I was talking to this engineer. He's working until 5 o'clock. He starts at 9. Then the second shift takes over and runs until 1 a.m. I asked the engineer how many trips he makes. He just said simply, a lot. This Arrow MU car, 1325, has probably got the best sounding AA2 horn I've ever heard on these. And I've heard a lot of good ones, but this one stands out far. It's just very loud, very forceful. There he goes, heading back to Princeton. Remember the old SEPTA Bud Silverliners and the St. Louis Car Company Silverliners? They had horns like that too. They were cool. 161 New York, Washington at 3:17. And I'd been advised that train 156 from Roanoke to New York is going to have the other Crayon engine, the 621, the blue unit. Well, at 3:27, here comes the first of a slew of 5 Amtrak westbounds. This is train 97, the Silver Meteor en route from New York to Miami. Following should be 99, he's late, 2253, 87, and 667. Get pretty busy at times. Alas, the Silver Meteor is the only New York to Florida train left. Wow, he was loaded with U-liners. That was the ill-fated 99 from Boston to Newport News. All right, 3:51. Here comes 2253, Acela Express, Boston, Washington. They don't run quite as many on the weekends. That was train 194 at 4 o'clock. Bound for Boston. Joined by a local Philadelphia railfan, Bill, and his roommate Carlos from the great Filipino nation. So, got any Silverliner 4 stories you want to tell us? You know, have you heard any good horns from those things lately? I think your expression says a great deal. Bill is probably like me. We're very like-minded on our love for those Silverliner 4s. So, well. Well, I missed 87 going by westbound, but this is 667, New York to Harrisburg at 4:02. Well, here comes 42, the Pennsylvania from Pittsburgh to New York. That's the same double-headed power I saw on 43 going out this morning. And 440 approaching is a slightly late running 106 from Washington to New York. High horsepower. And approaching 448 is 670, Harrisburg to New York. Cab car first. Oh, that had a wicked horn. Beautiful. All right, 508 is 2218. Washington, New York. .510. It's been a gorgeous day. Approaching now is 163, Boston to Washington. Doing the limit, 125. Well, 517, here comes a train that traveled a long distance. Train 20, the Crescent, from New Orleans to New York. I saw one Phase 7 car in there. I'm telling you, today I'm getting the best horn shows I've ever gotten here. All right, coming by at 525 is 156 from Roanoke, Virginia to New York. He runs via the N&W from Roanoke to Lynchburg, the old Southern Railway towards Alexandria, then the RF&P, and into DC and Amtrak the rest of the way. He'll have the 621, the blue crayon. Oh, that looks sharp. And that sounds sharp. Listen to that. Oh, sweet petunia. Operatic. All right, it's a seller time at 5:45. This is 2255 from Boston to Washington. He should be doing the limit, 150. Oh, beautiful. All right, 550. This is 168, Washington to Boston. Blow, baby, blow.
That's a good buddy of mine. His name is Tim, the retired Railfan horn guy, right here together.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. I won't be here much longer, another half hour. Well, here comes 159 on Amtrak from New York to Washington. Should get to see one more Amtrak before I leave. 669, New York, Harrisburg. Ooh, sing to me, darling. Well, here comes 669, New York, Harrisburg at 606. Metrolina cab car. I can barely see his headlight if he has it on at all. He It does, but it's not very visible. We got this Trenton-bound transit at 6:08. He's got something good on the back. This is the evening Dinky conductor here. Just started her shift. She'll be working till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Later, man. I'm doing. You too. Be safe.
That is the prettiest thing on New Jersey right there. That is pretty.
Ah, definitely a rainbow. So you're starting your evening and your, how many round trips including deadheads?
No deadheads, 15 round trips.
Wow.
Yep, on my second one, 13 more to go.
Oh boy. Well, you're nice and cheerful now. Hopefully you will be at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Let's hope so.
Ah,
Have a good night.
you too. Second shift.